Hello, Sudhaji, welcome.
Hello, namaste. Namaste, Srinivas, sir. Namaste.
Namaste, Sudhana.
Yeah, I think we can get started. Maybe I will introduce everyone. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the session. And today, Master Srinivas Garu, he's going to share us the wisdom. He lives in Thousand Oaks, and he's a senior master in our PSSM. Thank you so much, sir, for having us. Thank you so much for taking time to share the wisdom. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you, Satya, ma'am. Yeah, so I'm going to actually, let me share my screen. Are you able to see my screen?
Yep. Yes,
okay.
we are.
Okay, cool. Okay, so let me. Are you able to still see, right?
Yes, we are still able to see it.
So you're seeing the welcome, you're the placebo, right?
Yep, yep.
Okay, cool. All right, yeah. So I'm going to give a brief overview of You Are the Placebo book, right? And I'll try to cover in 20 minutes. Let's see, I mean, maybe, so you can tell me, Satya ma'am,
You can
after,
call me Satya Andy.
yeah, so after 20 minutes or so, I mean, we can stop, right? And then, I can cover the remaining in another session.
Yes, yeah. Take
Yeah.
as many sessions as you would like.
Right, okay. So you're seeing the next slide, right? Intro about the author.
No, we are seeing that still welcome. You are the. Oh, it's gone.
Okay. Yeah. Let me share again. I think sometimes that happens. So actually, let me see if I share my desktop. And how about now?
We'll see wake up call slide.
Okay.
Intro about
Good.
author.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. Okay, that's what I wanted. Oh. Okay. Yeah. So this is a brief about the author, right? So this is one of the books that Patriji recommended all the masters to read, right? And the author has a few. He wrote 4 books, and then he's probably the I would say, of all the people that are doing the impact of meditation on our body and on our body and all that, right? The impact of meditation in our lives, he's probably the one that's doing the most research, right? And he does a week-long retreats, and those are attended by a lot of masters. I mean, actually, each session, you see around 2,000 people attending the session, and going through the meditations and all that, right? The entire week. In fact, actually, that PSSM master, right? What Anand sir is going next week, I believe. He's attending.
Yeah.
He's going to Tennessee to attend his session, actually, right? So, yeah. So this is one of the popular books, and based on the book is written, based on his experience and based on his research, right? And this was like probably like 10-plus-year-old book, actually. I mean, he has another book as well called Becoming Supernatural, right? That he wrote after this book, right? So he holds a degree in Bachelor of Science, and so he actually, was preparing for a triathlon, and then he runs into an accident, actually, right? He was in the last leg of the race, he's going through a cycle, the last leg is cycling, right? And then he actually met with an accident, and he basically not able to walk, almost paralyzed and all, right? The doctors tell him that, okay, so the only option for you is some surgery and put some rods, in his spine and all that, right? And he didn't want to accept that, and that's the only option. And he actually, he meditates, right? Imagining, he does a mental rehearsal for hours and hours every day for many days, imagining himself that, his the spine is getting better actually, right? And over a period of time, he completely cures actually. So basically, based on his thoughts alone, right? And he wouldn't let any negative thought come his way actually, right? And if a negative thought comes, he'll start all over again, whatever he's trying to do, right? That visualization, because always, you'll have doubt, and is this going to work, and am I wasting my time and all of that, right? But he persists, and eventually, he gets the result that he was looking for, right? And after that, he decides, he wants to dedicate his life, to research this and promote this actually, and that's what he has been doing, the last I would say 30 plus years or so, right? uh, let's see. So yeah, so it's basically, the first chapter is about, could mind have taken control of the body? Is it possible, right? Can you really, with your thoughts alone, right? Take control of the body, driven by expectations of what seem to be most probable future scenario, and make that real, right? Keep reimagining, imagining that that's possible, and you reprogram your subconscious mind, and you remove all the doubts actually, right? That's how he was able to do, right? And chapter one gives lots of examples, right? This is a story about Mr. Wright, right? He basically, like, he believes that, okay, so uh, so he actually signs up for a study, experimental drug actually, right? And initially, he was not allowed to participate in the study, and he convinces his doctor, right? And somehow, takes the drug actually, right? And then he assumes that, yeah, the drug is working. This is, he doesn't have any other options actually for his, I believe it's a cancer actually. So, and he believes that the drug is working, and he 100% believes in that, and then he cures the disease, right? And then he basically, there's a study outcome of that, and that says that, basically, the drug is not working, and he hears about that news, and he also accepts that, basically saying, okay, the drug is really not doing anything. And then after he keeps thinking about it, the drug is not working and all that, right? And then his, cancer comes back actually, his disease comes back, right? And then his doctor, kind of realizes what's happening, and then he basically again tells him, right? He gives a placebo actually, just a simple salt water injection or something, right? Some medicine with that, and says, yeah, this is an improved version of the drug, this is going to work for you. And so he basically, yeah, so he believes what the doctor says, takes the drug, and then he gets better again actually. And then, like a few months later, right, and he reads another report saying, the drug is not working at all, and they're like stopping all the research on that, and then his disease comes back actually, right? Yeah, so if you really, like, all these cases, right, he believed that, the drug is working, and he cured himself. And then, he stopped thinking that, he started thinking the drug is not working. The disease comes back, and then he takes a drug, like some kind of placebo again, right? Thinking that that's an improved version of the drug. And, so the disease goes away, and then finally, he hears that, that they stopped doing the drug trials and all that, right? So, yeah, so, that's like, that's one study, right? The first chapter has a lot of examples like this, right? Based on, this is all well documented, research papers and all that, right? So yeah, so I'm going to cover, a few of these, and then, we'll move forward, right? This is again Another study, 10 men who served in military and suffered from osteoarthritis. So, out of those, right, two out of 10 were to be given standard surgery. Three of them receive a procedure called lavage, and five of them receive a sham surgery, right? So, like, sham surgery means, they're not doing surgery, but they don't know that. They would, the doctors would do everything as though like they're doing the real surgery actually, but they don't really, do anything. But the patients won't know, right? After the surgery, all 10 patients study reported greater mobility and less pain. Not just the five people that got something really done, right? But all 10 of them, really, s- s- show some improvements, right? The last five, the five that did not receive any surgery done, all that, right? But because, they believe that, they went through the surgery and they imagine that, like, because when you believe, right, your body reacts to that actually, right? There's no doubt in them actually that they didn't know that they didn't get the surgery done and all that, right? So yeah, so basically, got better simply because their faith and belief in healing power of the surgeon and the hospital, right? They strongly believed in that, right? So again, similar thing in another heart surgery in Kansas City, so like similar thing, two groups, one group does the receives the real surgery, and then in the second group, like a sham surgery, but then, 67% who received the actual surgery felt less pain, while 80% of the pain who had the sham surgery endured the same level of improvement, right? So this is like, they're imagining that, yeah, they got the surgery and they're getting better and they get better actually, right? So yeah, so basically attitude is everything, right? And it's like, 440, this is another study, right, from Mayo Clinic, 447 people, more than 30 years, people who are optimists, right? Who look at, the glass is half full instead of half empty, right? Healthier physically and mentally. They lived much longer, more than 7 years longer, right? If you try to, be, you have an app, like a, right attitude actually, right, towards life, instead of negative attitude. So let me skip the studies. Yeah. So yeah, and brief history of placebo, right? How, I mean, the placebo is something that you hear quite a bit. Any new drug that's introduced into the market today, right? I mean, they 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 have to do the placebo study, right? Like they sign up, a group of patients, and then like break them into different groups. Some of them will get the actual medicine, and then the remaining people don't don't get the medicine at all, right? But they don't know actually who is getting what. So everybody thinks they're getting the medicine, and then the doctors measure, right, the impact of that. So like and many times, many drugs, right, like you only, even the people that receive the placebo, right, they see improvements, because they think they're getting the drug, and and that's how it works, right? And this is like, it's all started actually, during World War II, right? This Dr. Beecher, he's a surgeon. He runs out of morphine. So basically, before you do any surgery, right, you give the morphine, so that they don't feel the pain, right? And but so he runs out of morphine. He doesn't have any options, because he knows that, if he doesn't do the surgery, there are a lot of significant negative outcomes, right? So he decides to experiment with this, right? He takes some salt water and then gives the patient, as though like they're getting like real morphine, right? But then like they wouldn't complain about the pain and all that. They go through the they're able to take the surgery and without the pain and all that, right? Because they think that they really got the the morphine, and their body basically release the chemicals required actually, right, to suppress the pain. I mean, that's what this the whole book is about, that kind of that, right? You're the placebo means you have like the you have all the ingredients within ourselves, right? We have, all of us have within ourselves to release the chemicals that our body needs, right, to cure, most of the diseases actually, right? That's what this book is about, right? By the right thoughts, by reprogramming your subconscious mind, and having a strong intent, and with meditations, right? You could, if you strongly believe that that's happening, right? And your body will react, right? Your body will release the chemicals actually, right? That are required to help, with that, right? So I mean, you hear, faith-based healing, right? In all religions, for example, like Sat Sai Baba, like helped cure many diseases, right? With holy ash. This is again, it's considered one of these things, right? Like if people strongly believe in Sai Baba's miracle, and then, their bodies, react to that accordingly, and then, the diseases get cured, right? So yeah, so internal state of the mind, these cures are influenced or altered by the conditions and external environment, right? Like, based on what is suggested to them, right? And their belief system, that's what helps them actually, right, to heal. So again, yeah, this is another study, right? Similar, basically, is like, a group of kids, right? They were basically exposed to poison ivy. Half of them are exposed to poison ivy. Other half were exposed to, like a harmless leaf, but they don't know actually, right? But then they also think that, they were exposed to poison ivy as well, and they were thinking that, they're going to, get the whatever the rash and all that, right? And they developed the rash, even though they were not really exposed, because they strongly believe that, they're getting exposed, and then, they were expecting the rash to show up, and it shows up actually, right? So yeah, again, the asthma study, right? In a similar thing, basically, they break it into two groups. They give a group of patients, right, like the real drug, and the remaining patients, water vapor inhalers containing only water vapor, right? But then both the patients, show, improvements, right? After, even though they're not really, second group is not really taking, right? Yeah, so basically, saying, human body can act like a pharmacy, right? So based on what we believe in, right? Based on your subconscious programs, so I mean, like, you should not have any doubt actually, right? When you have it, and if you have any doubt, your body knows. You may not be saying anything, what you're telling yourself actually, right? When so yeah, so that's what that is, right? I mean, yeah, the meditation helps us to reprogram our subconscious mind, right? When you're in deep meditation, and you're more suggestible, to these things, when you believe in, right? I mean, yeah, so you will be able to your body will release the right chemicals, right, that you need to heal actually. So this is again, this another study, right? So yeah, so this is in the 1960s, right? This Harvard cardiologist, he hears about this transcendental meditation, and then he studies, right? I mean, yeah. So basically, can he reduce the stress in the people who has this heart disease, right? And then see, he would study, reduce stress with meditations and all that, right? And then the study the various things, lowering, and he would see the lowering of the blood pressure, normalizing heart rate, deep states of relaxation, right? Even in fact, the Dr. Dean Ornish has a program, uh, that he uses actually, right? And one of the modalities of that is, the meditation and yoga, right? It's like he recommends doing, 1 hour of, meditation or yoga, combined and all that, right? And really to, relax your body, and, to help, reduce your stress levels, which whereby, right, you're going to see the impact, on your body, and you're going to get better, right? Yes, basically based on his studies, right, he has seen the reversal in the heart disease actually, so he has, a few books as well, right? A few interested more, you can read, search on Dr. Dean Ornish, and get his books actually. Right? So again, this is another study, right? This is cousins. He gets diagnosed with ankylosing spondylitis. There's really no cure to it. This is like early 90s, I believe. And the doctors tell him, this is like, yeah, not much research was done, right? Nobody would know really what was happening and all that. And he basically, if there's no other option, right? He experiments himself. Uh, he kind of comes to the conclusion that he was always negative, right? He was in a persistent negative emotional state, and he believes that's what caused his illness. So he then he says, okay, so maybe if I'm in a positive emotional state, I could reverse this, right? So he without while continuing to consult the doctor, started taking a massive dose of vitamin C and then walks brothers movies, right? He watches hours and hours of funny shows. I mean, like when you watch comedy shows and all, right? You are in you're in a joyful state, you're laughing and all that, right? He does that quite a bit, and eventually he makes a complete recovery actually. So yeah, so he, this is explained in detail, right, in the book as well. Basically says, Dr. Joseph laughed himself to health. So his shift in attitude changed his body chemistry, right? Because he worked on himself. He came out of his negative emotional state. And with that, right? He stopped thinking about all the negative things, right? Stopped judging people. All the fears were gone, and he was in a joyful state most of the time. And that's how, with that, right, his internal state changed, enabling him to program new genes in new ways. So he simply down regulated the genes, right? He turned off some genes that were causing his illness and upregulated the genes responsible for his recovery. So yeah. Another study, similar to that, right, on diabetic patients. In this study, right, they were given asked to like watch some funny, uh, like an hour of comedy show versus an hour of boring lecture, and they would basically, they study the glucose levels and the various genes and all that, right? They would see, like people who basically watch the laughter related videos, right? They would see improved glucose control. So 39 genes were upregulated. So basically, right? Yeah, I mean, so more you're in a joyful state, right? Better, right? That's what they conclude. So let's see. Yeah, basically all these chapters, right, when we truly change our internal state of being, our bodies respond to a new mind, right? Changing our state of being begins with changing our thoughts. So, the meditation helps us actually, right? You're more aware of your thoughts, so, and then, when you realize, right, okay, so, yeah, you have negative thoughts, then you can replace them with positive thoughts, or, I figure out, right, where are these thoughts coming from, right? Negative thoughts, right? And then work on them, right? So, yeah, so the brain finds the same, like, so if you, let's say, right, if you have these positive thoughts, right, assume that things are working, things are better and all that, right? I mean, yeah, so your brain doesn't really know, right, is it real or not, right? Your body responds accordingly, right? So you're in a new state of being, and the mind and the body are working together actually, right? Then so the magic happens. So let's see. Yeah. So, so the basically, right, you probably heard this before. We have 60 to 70,000 thoughts in a day. 90% are repetitive. And, so what author says, right, we should examine our thoughts and how they impact our body, brain and bodies, right? I'm sure, you can relate to an example. For example, let's say your day is going well, you're joyful and all that, right? And then you hear some unexpected news actually, right? And immediately after, if you have the awareness, right, you realize immediately after the hearing that news, right, could be, your body changes actually, internal state, you have fear, and your heartbeat increases, yeah, a lot of you know uh, negative things happen, right? Just based on a simple thought alone, really. Nothing really happened, right? Other than that, you heard some news, and you started thinking about it, projecting all the negative things about it and all of that, right? With that, and if you live in, even though, like nothing really, there is no immediate danger right now, right? But you, based on what you have been thinking about, right? Actually, right? Yeah. So you are, negatively impacting your body, right? So yes, the old state of being, right? Same thoughts, same choices, actions, behavior, same experiences, same thing, right? So if, let's say, you have to observe, right? What, like, think about what you've been thinking about, think about your day, and what are your emotions, feelings, all of that, right? And so you change them actually, right? By, let's say, you maybe let's say you're going through some negative thing, right? Maybe look at stories of people that recovered from that actually, right? And maybe you change your thought process, you take some action, right? Based on those thoughts, and you have different set of feelings, and you're really changing yourself when that happens actually, right? You hear, a lot of PSSM masters, telling like how they, with meditation, by changing their thought process, and they, by managing the emotional state, right, heal many diseases actually. It's if you listen to people's experiences, right, that's very, very quite common. So yeah, so you're creating a new state of being, right? New thoughts, new choices, new actions, behaviors, experiences, feelings, right? And so based on all of that, right? You're kind of uh, changing your thoughts, and and in turn, right? Changing how your body is working, internal, how the body is working actually, right? So I know we're like almost 9:30. Just wonder, that's like first three chapters, right? Summary of that, Satyaji, and should we pause here and maybe we continue the next?
Yeah, sure, sir. Yeah, we can pause it here. That's wonderful.
Okay,
Yeah, it's this book. I think he has done a lot of research and he put it in the book. How this helps. Wonderful.
right. Yeah, so if anybody has any questions, right, or if you want to, if
Yeah,
you
if
read the
anyone,
book or heard about
yes,
this, right, if you have anything to share, please.
anyone have any questions? Everyone?
Oh, I see both
Hello,
Right.
boss
India, they
sir.
probably,
Hello.
I think, you guys have probably read the book before, right? If you have anything you want to add.
Yeah, the book, it's been some time, but the presentation is good, your explanation, excellent. So one of the thing that I experienced is, while I'm having a throat itching because of some um, pollen or something in March, April, that time. So the next day I have to go to a conference, and I said, okay, let me try to heal myself. And I focused on my throat and meditated for 20-30 minutes and slept. And then after a couple of hours, I woke up with a little bit of sweatiness, and my throat itchiness is gone, and my slight fever is also gone. So yeah, focus on your body and meditate. It can help get better. And if it doesn't happen, don't get discouraged and keep on doing. and it's slowly you're training your body to work on itself. Thank you.
Wonderful, sir. Thank you. Amazing. Thank you for sharing. Anyone have any questions? Or anyone would like to add anything? Everyone? So yeah. But yeah, it's the whole process is like, with the meditation, we can change our cellular, rewire our brain. Because since childhood, right? Especially the way we live with so much limiting beliefs or like, scarcity, the negativity we were lived and we grew up. But as soon as we realize that it's not like that, this book is a perfect example that where like the in the salt water injection, when they gave the brain, they thought that okay, it's a real injection and they cured themselves. It's all based on our belief system. That's what I understood. And meditation helps a lot to rewire our process. Anybody would like to add anything? Okay, I think that's it. Thank you, Srinivas garu. Thank you so much, Andy. Bose garu, thank you so much for the wonderful surprise. Thank you so much. We love to have you both on our session. Please feel free to join anytime, and you're always welcome to share your wisdom here.
Yeah,
Thank you, Andy.
I'll let you know next week, right? Then we'll cover the remaining chapters,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
And I can place the book in the group tomorrow. So yeah, if anyone is interested, please read it. Because Joe Dispenza, if you Google or if you search in the YouTube, you will get tons of videos. And he's like, you can also research about him. He's such a great master. Like, he's been teaching meditation and giving the classes, conducting self-healing these sessions everywhere in the United States.
Yeah, if you really want to read, one of the best way I found is using Audible or Hoopla, that library app, while driving to work or walking, or even before sleeping. Put that Audible, books like this placebo, You Are the Placebo, or Becoming Supernatural. It's great. You will enjoy the book reading while doing something else, even while washing dishes. Sometimes I will use Audible book and wash the dishes. So cooking, anything, right? While you're doing your daily things, you can read the books. Books actually changed a lot um, myself. So I highly encourage reading books. Srinivas gave me huge list of books, and I probably read 5%, 10%, but that made a lot of impact.
Definitely. Thank you so much, sir. Yeah,
Yeah,
Srinivas
thank
garu,
you.
would you
Yeah,
like to
thank you.
say?
No, just thank you both. Yeah, thanks everyone for joining. Yeah, wonderful to see so many people actually on this call.
Mm.
So yeah, great.
You're doing great, Satya Garu.
Look, I have a great masters here. Everyone is helping me out. They are the ones who are promoting and bringing more people. I'm so thankful to each and everyone who joined here today. And also, yeah, I'm so grateful to them because they are spreading the word for me. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Thank you, Srinivas garu. Thank you both. Thank you so much, sir,
Right.
for joining us.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. Let's get start the meditation. Thank you all so much for joining the session, everyone. Let's get ready. Sit in a comfortable position. Cross the legs if you are sitting on the chair. Clasp the fingers together. Take up the glasses if you are wearing any. Close the eyes. Relax the body. observe the